Hey fam, my name's Kiahonfire and welcome back to Conan Exiles. Today we're going to be looking at an updated version of the Witch Queen guide. And today we'll be looking into it, what we get from it, and what recipes you can get with it also, and how to take it on. So let's get into it. Now the Witch Queen's palace can be found deep in the jungle on the far right hand side of your map. And this is a really good way to get into it. There's a lot of pathways that will lead to this actual place. Do be careful because the area just before has gas in it. But there is a couple of ways you can get in there. You can get in here by this kind of entrance with the stairway up here and stuff like that. Or there's one right opposite where you can see the waterfalls coming out. You can actually go through the little waterfall holes and jump in that way. So you're going to want to go down the steps and go towards the entrance at the other side. Then you will be allowed into her dungeon. Now this dungeon is a little bit harder than Dreg's, but you shouldn't have too much of a problem with it. The only problem is probably the mechanics and the end boss, because she can be quite nasty. On me today I've brought the fiery gear because this will buff my strength and it's good for heat. You want heat gear for the jungle because it gets very hot, or you want cooling food like an iced tea or something. Other things I've bought is steel tier weapons, and there's a few hard and steel stuff in there. I'm hoping to use these poniards on the boss lady, and I might use the shield and axe for the big statue dudes when we get in there. I've also bought some good healing stuff with me, aloe soup and some trail jerky. Trail jerky is a high grade food, which means we're going to get a lot more healing out of it. You'll notice I've put really good weapon damage kits on these, but of course if you're going to be level about 30 when you're trying this, you probably won't have as good as grade as that. But anything will be sufficient, and you can also put on upgrades to your armour if you wish. You'll notice I also have a strength tattoo. That takes me up to about 8 strength. So when you get in here, you want to go through, and once you're in here, you're going to notice this door right here is going to shut on you. So if you're bringing friends, don't go in too far, and just come about here, and then let all your friends in, and then come in. But once you're about here, it will start closing, and yeah. So what's going to happen? The door is now closed and she is reanimating the statue there. It's a very slow statue, so it makes it quite easy to counter. Can't wait for it to do its little swingy thing and then attack. Now these guys aren't hard to fight at all because you can read them really well. Even if you've never fought them before, they're really easy to read. And they don't really have much of a damage radius, so they're really easy to kill off. So once you've killed this guy, you're going to notice this lady is now going to reanimate a second figurine after these laser beams come through. Do not stand in the laser beams, they will really hurt you actually. So you can see them if you're in the way of them usually, because you get a nice big green glow. There we go, and now she is waking up the second avatar, and it's the same process again. He is just as slow and easy to read, but the difference is you have lasers to dodge this time. So as you can see, he's kind of in a laser right now, so I'm going to move out the way, let him come to me and do his attack, and then I'm going to get out the way and make sure I don't get hit by any of these lasers in the process. Once you've killed him, then the lady shall prop and come down right in this middle spot here. So you kind of want to get away from the middle because that's where she's going to spawn. And here she is! The Witch Queen herself. She is quite a toughie, but she wields a war axe, so she can be quite nasty. But I suggest, again, daggers are probably the best one for this one because it's just staggering damage against these. Either that or use yourself a nice shield and axe like she does and just copy her. There's also another technique you can use with this lady. You can actually knock her out and take her out that way. But of course that's not always as fun, especially if you're solo. It's not always the best thing to do. Sometimes it's just best to go at her and get rid of her good and proper. Another thing you could probably do is just add 20 blade stacks to her and just run away for a bit and let her kill her own self. If you spend too long on this battle, you're going to notice that the laser beams will come back in. So do be careful with that, because they're going to present a problem, especially if you're trying to get away from her. Once you've killed her, the door will open and the purple thing will be gone. She isn't that hard to kill. It took me less than 5 minutes to kill her. In total, this dungeon should be taking you about 15 to 10 minutes, as long as you've got your stuff right. You can notice she drops a mask and a key. You want to pick both of those up, and I'll show you why later. You can't really farm her for anything unusual more than normal humans drop, but what we really want is her throne. We're going to come up the steps to her throne, and we're going to come over here, up here, and you want to click E on the throne. It's going to give you Lemurian engrams. Now this is also a great place to take a nice picture, if you like. Now taking a look at some of the recipes that we've learnt. From doing this we've learnt the Lemurian pike, the sword, the royal armour and the warrior armour. Starting with the armour, we have the Lemurian royal set. Now this is what I probably would call cosplay armour. You're also going to notice for this armour you actually need an improved armourer's bench instead of a normal one, which is a little bit weird since dungeon is not actually that hard, but that's fine. You might have to borrow somebody else's table, get them to build it for you, and you provide the resources for that one. But you pretty much get all of this royal stuff. It's silk and light for all of this. And it's a quite nice looking set if I do say so myself. You look very royal and Lemurian style in your big robe and dress. Now this armour is all bonus survival, it is light, you don't get a lot of armour out of it, but there's that. So you can pretty much, I suppose, farm with this kind of armour, weirdly enough, or use it for cosmetic reasons. And next we're looking at the Lemurian warrior stuff. Now this stuff is pretty cheap and I quite like it actually. It's a very aesthetically pleasing looking piece of kit, but it is actually also very useful. Now this armour is medium and it gives me 360 armour currently. The mask gives me accuracy, the body gives me strength, the gauntlets give me accuracy, the skirt gives me strength, and the boots give me accuracy. This comes up to 3 accuracy and 2 strength, so it's a pretty nice balanced piece of kit. And it looks really nice as well. Another thing these recipes give you is a pike and a sword. Now these are pretty decent, but they can be a little bit more difficult to make. Now you don't need a fancy blacksmithing bench for this, you just can have a normal one, but you will need hardened steel bar. It's a decent pike and it's got 47 HP damage and 8% armor penetration. It doesn't really have a special perk, but it is quite a nice spear to have all the same. The other thing they have is a Lemurian sword. That's 47 health damage and 8% penetration with cripple. And of course it works just like other swords. Now you might be wondering where this key goes to, and actually we have to travel all the way to the other side of the map to go and do this. So we need to go to actually Set City, and the place you want to go roughly is on this highway here. Once you've arrived, you can come down this little road and let's run down. You can come to this quite building with like a adjusted door over here, and you'll see it's just ajar in this little area. But now you have the key, you should be able to click E on the door. Once you've opened the door, you can enter, but it will close again, so just be careful with that. And you can notice there's a lady in here, Razma of Shen. You can talk to her and she's going to tell you about a bunch of stuff. Pretty much what this lady's going to tell you. She's going to tell you a bunch of lore. She's also going to tell you what ingredients you need to end the game and take your bracelet off. And that is what she's going to tell you what's most important. She's also going to give you hints to go to the volcano and complete things there. Sadly, the rest of her house is quite empty and doesn't have anything but her in it and what it will tell you. But it will advance your story and give you an interesting insight in lore and how the bracelet was made and everything else like that. The mask being one of these ingredients that you need to remove the bracelet off of yourself. But for now, that is everything we can cover today in the Dungeon of the Witch Queen. Thank you for watching, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!